Welcome back, eSIM Studios. Apologize for recording in the car, but it is what it is. So, we got a lot of news to get into. I'm going to try to run through it quick. I encourage everybody to pay attention, to listen to the end, because we have some really, really big news when it comes to Pixel, when it comes to iPhone, and then we got iPhone news that ties back into Samsung and Google. Foldables, to make it even better. Now, what am I talking about? So, let's get into the Pixel news. So, with each generation of Pixel that comes out, I get excited, right? I'm a Pixel fan at heart. Always have been, always will be. Now, I always get a little excited because whenever the new Pixel comes out, I'm always like, is this the year that Google finally takes a step forward and catches up to the big boys when it comes to the CPU? And every year, I'm used to it by now, my hopes and dreams kind of get squashed because there's this year just a very little minor improvement performance Geekbench wise over the previous generation Pixel Tensor G4. So I'm getting a little more hyped again because with each new leak and rumor that comes out, my eyes get bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm at the point now where I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be a badass phone. An absolute badass phone. Because, as I mentioned, very little progress or improvement when it comes to CPU performance. But I put a report out about a week ago, or about 5 days ago, saying that the GPU, Google is switching to an Imagination Technologies GPU that's said to increase performance by up to 62%. Now, I had a viewer kind of call me out, and I encourage that, honestly. Say, where the hell did you hear that? I haven't seen that at all. So I pulled the report and sent them the link. Now, that is huge because what does the GPU help, and what does the GPU really make a big difference? In gaming, in video editing, video performance, using the cameras, graphics. So that would squash one of my cons, right? There's pros and cons to everything. That would eliminate one of my cons right off the list because that should solve all of my video editing woes. Not that it's bad. It's gotten better, honestly, with this Android 16 update. Everything's a lot smoother, but it's still not, on the level of the Snapdragon when it comes to video editing. But the Pixel 10 might just be. So that would see a huge improvement. Now we got word that Google is going to implement its all new Google-designed ISP, Image Signal Processing Unit. Google's been working on this ISP for the last 5 years. So the last 4 generations of Tensor, they've used a Samsung ISP inside the system on a chip. They've been working on this for 5 years. They finally have it ready to go. There's reports saying that this new Pixel 10 is going to see drastic improvements in camera performance. It's already like the best camera phone you can buy. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, is it going to be digital camera, dare I say digital camera level? Maybe. So automatically you see right off the bat just how good, and again, I don't want to hear anybody talk shit about Google keeping the same design the carryover year, meaning going into the same design for a second year, because Apple's been doing it for freaking 6 years in a row. So I love the way it looks, and this Pixel 10 is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And I think if you did not upgrade to the 10, definitely got to upgrade now. Even if if you did not upgrade to the 9, you definitely have to upgrade to the 10. Even if you have a 9, I would strongly suggest you look into upgrading to a 10, because it's going to outperform the Pixel 9 in gaming, in video editing, everywhere where it lacks. And it's going to get better even where it is the best, which is camera quality. So let's get into iPhone. So I have a few notes here. I'm not going to be reading off on my phone, right? I'm just going to look down every now and then. So we have big time Pixel news. So we have big time iPhone news. iPhone 17 Pro. So here are the things that are going to be improved on the iPhones. Some of these are mind-blowing. that I just learned of in the last few days. iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. We're talking about the Pro models, right? So iPhone 17 Pro, you're going to see design changes. So the phone is going to be aluminum. They're going to switch from titanium and have aluminum. It's going to help on the weight, and it's going to be on the back. It's going to be aluminum and glass. On the front, it's going to be glass, and around the sides, it's going to be aluminum. They have to put aluminum and glass on the back so the wireless charging and MagSafe compatible magnets will work. Number 2 is camera design. All y'all have seen those leaked images of the cameras. They're going to keep that same triangle camera array, but it's going to have a rectangle square up top and kind of separate that triangle camera array from the lower half of the device. Now you're going to get display enhancements, right? Apple is said to put a new anti-reflective coating on the Pro and Pro Max, similar to what Samsung has done to their S24 Ultra and S25 Ultra. So Apple's stepping up the game in display-wise. You should see a anti-reflective display in the 17 Pro and Pro Max. Next, you're going to get battery improvements. The iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max is said to be a slightly thicker body to fit in a slightly thicker battery. Now, we're not going to see the silicone carbon batteries yet. I still think Samsung and Apple are a year away from putting silicone carbon batteries in these devices. I still think they are. So I think on the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max, you're just going to get a bigger battery. I think on the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max, that's when you're going to see the silicone carbon batteries. Same thing with Samsung. There's a slight possibility the S26 Ultra will get a silicone carbon battery or something of the sort, but I still think that's a year away. So I think that won't be introduced to the iPhone S27, Jesus Christ, Ultra. Now, processor upgrade. Apple is going to put the A19 Pro chip, Bionic Pro chip, in the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. It's going to be TSMC's 3 nanometer third generation node, which is top of the line. Wi-Fi capabilities. You're going to get Wi-Fi 7 in the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. Camera upgrades. Front camera is expected to be upgraded to a 24 megapixel sensor, upgraded from a 12 megapixel that's in the 16 Pro and Pro Max. And the rear is getting a telephoto camera rumored to increase to 48 megapixels, which was previously 12 megapixels on the 16 Pro and Pro Max. Here's a big one, RAM. Increased RAM, 12 gigabytes of RAM in the Pro and Pro Max models, up from 8. So you're getting 12 gigs of RAM, up from 8. Now the Air and the base model 17 are going to have 8 gigs of RAM. Actually, hopefully they put 12 in the Air. I haven't heard anything about that, but here's the coolest thing about it. Cooling features. So do you remember when the 15 series came out, where the overheating thing that lasted for a while until Apple pushed an update that kind of downgraded the output of that CPU? Apple is finally going to have liquid cooling in the Pro and Pro Max. Now, when you hear liquid cooling, you're like, liquid cooling? Holy crap, that's cool. It's going to be a vapor chamber. So Apple's going to totally revamp their cooling system in the 17 Pro and Pro Max to try to hinder the heat and or dissipate the heat at an increased rate, because these Apple chips they're basically too strong for the phone. As weird as that sounds, they're almost too powerful for these phones. They heat up. And so that is said to be a top priority for Apple, to get these devices running cooler at top when it's performing at its highest level. Now, let's get into the foldables. So Apple is said to be putting out a foldable iPhone Flip, iPhone Fold, whatever you want to call it. It's a foldable iPhone and/or Mac or iPad, right? They're said to be putting out a foldable device. Now, they were only going to put it out. Internal leaked documents say they were only going to put it out. They didn't care if it had to wait 10 years. They were only going to put it out only if there was a zero crease when folded open. So when you get the Samsung Fold 6 or Flip 6 or the Google Pixel Fold or the OnePlus Open, you open it up, there's that slight little crease, decreases slightly, ever so slightly, every year, every generation. but Android still hasn't, got a flat display. Well, Apple has this brand new hinge, and they patented it so nobody can copycat them. That when the device is open, it has a 100% flat display. Now, one of the key ingredients in that hinge is liquid metal. That's correct. You heard me right. Liquid metal. So this design is so cool. It has everybody on the inside. All the insiders in the industry are going goo goo gaga over this new hinge. And it appears the big boys in the Android world that have foldables have convinced Apple to lease this technology. So when you patent something, you can either keep it for your use only and nobody can copy it, or you can lease your patented technology out to another entity, another company. In return, they pay you a hefty price. So Apple finally figured out how to make a no-crease display. The other big players in the industry, Samsung, Google, Xiaomi, Oppo, all of them are jaw-dropping at this new liquid metal hinge. So much, in fact, that they are in talks with Apple for leasing that patent, for leasing that technology to use on the Android foldables. So the dollar amount, the terms of the contract, terms of condition have not been leaked. All we know right now is that they are in talks to finalize deals, Apple is, between each one of these manufacturers to lease this new technology out to them so they can implement this new hinge that has liquid metal in it into their foldables. So here in the next year or so, you will have a zero-crease display across the board. Now, it's not going to be implemented in the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. It's not going to be implemented in the Z Flip 7. It's too early, right? They're just talking about leasing it and leasing this technology for Android use. And as you know, these phones take years to develop. So at the earliest, we'll see it on the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 8, Z Fold 8. At the earliest, we're going to see it on the Google Pixel 11 Pro Fold. At the very soonest, we're going to see it on the probably on the Oppo N6. Anyways, you get the point. We're still at least a year away. The Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold's too early. It's already been developed in manufacturing right now, and the Fold 7 and Flip 7 is already in manufacturing, so it's too early for that. But next generation, this time next year, we should be hearing reports that Samsung, that Oppo, that OnePlus, that Google are going to, their next gen folds are going to have a zero crease display. So again, I tell you, I'm honest, so hats off to you, Apple. I love to troll you, but when you do good stuff, hey, I give you your props. So before we get out of here, I want to tell everybody I'm creating a new YouTube channel, 24/7 live tech news. That's correct, 24/7 live tech news. So I have a new YouTube channel. I've already got the name for it, Mobile Tech News TV. I'll put links in the descriptions for y'all to subscribe. It's going to be technology, live technology news 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Sometimes it'll be me, sometimes it'll be the AI voice not reading, but I got to tell them what to say. But it will be basically, if you go on YouTube and go over to the live section, the little place where you scroll over to live, you'll see these news stations that are live 24/7. And now what they do is they have about an hour block of news that they loop and loop and loop and loop. That equals 24 hours. But whenever they get a new piece of information or a new news piece, a new news story, they'll put it in that block and implement it in there. And the newer news stories get pushed in and the older news stories get pushed out. But it's on a continuous 24/7 loop. And that's what I'm going to do with this tech channel. A lot of it, as I mentioned, will be AI. It sounds real. It sounds like a real voice. It sounds like me talking. In fact, I've cloned my voice, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to use a better voice than mine, right? But there's no other channel like it. Most 24/7 live news stations on YouTube are just that, just general news. You see a lot of news other than technology. So there's not a 24/7 live news for tech, and that's what I'm going to implement. And I've already got the channel, I've already got the logo. I'm going to implement a new website as well. I've been working on like 3 websites, so we're going to introduce this new 24/7 live tech channel with a new website. So, and we'll put the links for all the stories in the description box. So if you hear a story and you want some more information, you can go click the link and read up on it. But should have that up and running in the next few days. So I'll have links for all that in the description box. But I do appreciate the time. I am at my final destination, knock on wood. And see you next time. Peace. Let me know what you think. Bye.